Hello everyone, welcome to Learn Data Structures and Algorithm in Python course. So in today's lecture, we'll be solving two problems on array. So these are easy level problems. So the first problem is to generate all sub-arrays from a given array. Let's assume this is an array. Now sub-array means whatever array is possible to create from this array is called sub-array. And these elements have to be contiguous. Means we can't take like 1 and 3 as in sub-array. We have to take the element from start to end. Right? So what will be the possible sub-arrays from this? Let's take an example. Let's take this is an array containing 1, 2 and 3. So one sub-array will be uh, 1. So single element array maybe contains single element. So this is an array. Then what will be the second? If we take from this to this, so then it will be like 1 and 2. So this will be another subarray. Then if we take from 1 to 3, this is another subarray, like 1, 2 and 3. Right? Now from 1 to 3 it is done. Now let's start from this index. So 2 2 by itself is an subarray. Now from this to this containing 2 and 3, this is another subarray, right? Then when it is done, so we'll be starting from this to this means 3. So for 3 elements in an array, we are getting these many subarrays. Now let's see how to write a program to print all the subarrays. Now to write a program for this, first learn what are we doing? We are basically running a loop from this to this. We are starting from index 0, then we are taking 0 to 0. Okay, we are creating a subarray sublist from 0 to 0, then from 0 to 1, then from 0 to 2, right? And like that, whatever the length of the array, right? Then we are going to the next element, the next index. Okay, so that will be nothing but 1. Then from 1 to the next element, whatever. So 1 to 1, this will be first, then 1 to 2, then 1 to 3, like that. Okay, now similarly that will be start from 2 to 2, then 2 to 3, right? Up to the length of the array. Similarly it will go on. Now you can see, so first we are running a loop. The loop basically will be run from the static index to the last index. Okay, so this is for 0, this will run for 1, this will run for 2. Now for first time, so I will be 0. Then we'll be creating sublist from this I to n minus 1. For that we'll take another variable called j that will run from I to n minus 1, right? From I to n minus 1. So I will be starting from 0 and j will be running from I to n minus 1. You can see when I is 1, when I equals to 1, this j will run from 1 to n minus 1. Similarly, if I is 2, then it will be running from 2 to n minus 2. It will not consider the previous element. And all the subarray means these are contiguous in nature. So let's see how we can create a subarray. So let's go to our VS Code. Let's create an array. ARR equals to, let's say 1, 2, 3. And now let's try to create a function. It's def generate all subarrays. Okay, it will take array, and what it will do, it will actually execute a for loop for I in range, and range will be from 0 to Let's take n equals to length of the array. Then I'll be ranging from 0 to n, right? Then we'll run another for loop for j equals to, sorry, j in range. J will be ranging from I to n. Now let's print. Now how to print the subarray? To print subarray, we use this slicing method. So ARR array slices. ARR starting index will be I, and end index will be j plus 1, right? Okay. Now if we call this function generate all subarray and put inside this array. Now if we run this, okay, sorry, okay, let's remove this out. Now if you run this code, now you can see this is printing all subarrays. So that it is basically pretty easy code. That's how we create all subarrays from an array. Now the next problem. What is the next problem? You will be given a target. You have to find that this element is present in this array or not. Basically, we are searching for an element in that unsorted array. So this is an unsorted array. This is not sorted. So how to find an element in an unsorted array? Just think about it. It is pretty easy, right? First, what you have to do, you have to iterate over the array. You have to iterate over the array. First, you have to go to index number 0. Then you will check if this element at index number 0 is equal to this target element or not. If it is this element, then you will return boolean value that this is true, means this element is present in this array. If not, if this is not equal to this, then you will go to next element, index number 1. Then similarly you will go to the next element if you don't find that. And when you find that element, you will be returning true or false. Like if you find this, you will be returning true. If you don't find it, you will be returning false. So this is the problem. So let's see how we can solve this. First, let's take an array. ARR equals to, it will be unsorted array. Let's say 4, 2, 7, 5, 19, right? Now let's say target equals to, let's say 10. Okay. Now we have to write a function def find element in array. Okay. And you have to put array here and the target here. Okay. Now what do you have to do? First step, we have to iterate over the array, right? So let's run a follow for ELE in ARR if ELE equals to this target. Then what are we gonna do? We're gonna, sorry, we'll be returning true. Otherwise, we'll be returning false. Right? This is the problem. So you can ask like why we are just not returning this false inside this function. So let's try to understand. So let's say in the first iteration, in the first step, let's say it search for this element. Okay. So when I is 0, it is inside this if block. Okay. Then it is checking if the element equals to target element or not. So it checks, no, this is not. Now it is doing nothing. It is going to loop again. But if we write this else, this return false statement inside here, so what it will do, it will just return false immediately. But we don't want to do that. We want to check for each element. Whenever it gets the element, it will be returning this true value. So once, so it will go for this element. then it will check. If it is equal, then it will be returning. That function will not be executed. If not, then it will run the for loop again and again. It will go through the loop again and again. And at last, when it doesn't find the element in the whole for loop process, whole the iteration, then we can say this element is not present in this array, right? That's why we are just returning this false outside of this for loop, right? So now if we just, let's take a variable raise equals to find element in an array, and let's put array and target. Okay, now let's print the result. Print raise. Now let's try to run this. Now you can see this is false because 10 is not present in that array. Now if we put 19 here, and if we try to run this, why it is giving false? Okay, my mistake. So I have to return it. Okay. Okay. Now let's clear this out. And if we run this, now you can see this is giving true. Now if we put another element 11, and let's try to run this, now it is giving false. Now if we put 7 here and let's try to run this, now it is giving true. So this is how we search in an array, and this is called linear search because we are searching from start index to end. So that's it for today's video. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.